You got to figure out which are the ones that's really who they are, or which of them are actresses.
What are stalkers scared of?
What are they afraid of?
Yeah.
Losing control of their prey.
This is another question, which is being asked by a Filipina in the comment section in one of our videos. So, is that a red flag to a foreigner who keeps his pictures with his past or ex? Is there like a certain point that she will gonna frame you or something, or blackmail?
It was going in that direction, and when that started happening, I wasn't worried about it from the point of view of, you know, I have nothing to hide, so you could try and blackmail me or threaten me or make any kind of a statement to try and scare me. I'm not easily scared. I'm not easily bullied. Let's just say that, right? I'm not easily bullied. However, I'm not in my own country. It's not like I'm in the Caribbean with because my father's from the Caribbean. I have my whole life there, or in Canada. It's not like I'm not on my home court. I don't have the home court advantage here.
Yes, that's I think the right way to say.
Right? So I'm in the opponent's backyard. So I'm not going to respond with any sense of bravado or ego. Right? Even though I'm not easy. If you back me in the corner, I know what to do. But I'm not trying to find myself in a corner. I'm trying to get out of the corner. I'm not Muhammad Ali and rope-a-dope, lying on the ropes, and you just flail away at me for 7 rounds like George Foreman. I'm not I'm not trying to be that guy.
You're not like that.
No. You know what I mean? I can't float like a butterfly. Right. I sting like a bee though. But I'm too old to float. I don't float anymore. I'm like a tank. I don't move.
Who knows?
Right? So
for me, I think why they're like doing that, it's because also, especially right now, if you have a new relationship and she continues like stalking you up until now.
Until now.
Yeah, because she can't move on.
She can't move on?
Yeah, with your relationship.
She can't move on.
Yeah, for me, that's my opinion.
Now, I want to go back to your previous question, why? Right? I think that would be different from anybody, for any man or woman who is reacting to a relationship that didn't work out and they're having this reaction of jealousy or anger or stalking or whatever it is, right? I think the answer would be different for each person. But sure. In my situation, with the person I was dating, the girl from Mindanao, there's clearly some self-esteem issues there, right? Mm-hmm. Where she's not looking at herself and saying, you know what, this guy didn't choose me and he didn't want to be with me. Heck with that guy. I'm just going to find, if he doesn't think I'm the one or if he doesn't think I'm good enough, screw him. Right? That level of self-esteem isn't there. Right? Or if it is embarrassment because, oh, hey, maybe she thought things were going to go in a certain way and now her family members, she has to answer to them, hey, what happened to your boyfriend? Where did he go? Now she has to answer to her friends and family. I don't know what promises she may have made or what commitments she may have made. Well, actually, I do know what promises and not promises, but we were dating, we were serious, right? I met her family, I met her family, I met all of her, her parents, her sister's brothers, her cousins, went back to her village, her kids, the whole 9 yards. We did all of that, and it was amazing. It was great, amazing, lovely family, the nicest. It's the if you're a foreigner and you're coming to marry a Filipina, that whole fantasy that we hear about as foreigners, oh, they're so hospitable and their families are going to take you in, they're going to love you like you're one of their own and you're going to get doted on. Mm-hmm. That's what I experienced for the most part, right? There were some bad actors inside of the family, but that could be true with any family, right? And that factored into some of this because I later found out that it wasn't just her, right? There was others in her family who had other agenda where I was concerned, right? That was much darker, right? Trying to get access to money from me and this sort of thing. So when this started to unveil itself, right? That is when I realized this is not just someone who it's not working out. This is someone who had much darker intentions
True.
the entire time.
Yeah, and you
Right.
cannot say that in her family all of the members are perfect or so.
Right.
No, we cannot say that.
We can't say that, right? But that's true about any family, including mine. And I don't know your family, but I'm sure there's maybe a cousin or someone
Yeah,
along
yeah.
the way. It's like, this guy
Agreed.
is like, it doesn't matter what country you're from or whatever. That's just how it is with families, right? But this was why I am choosing to share this story is because I have since realized that there's more of this going on here. There's more, people, women that have this kind of jealousy and Tampo. We talked about Tampo in the last,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now I'm revisiting this whole, dynamic of jealousy, Tampo, stalking, all this sort of kind of controlling, whether it's passive or if it is more, in your face, right? It could be passive or it could be more aggressive.
True. So that's why you're protecting yourself.
And I'm sharing my story because if you are coming here from somewhere else, right, and you're looking to date, I think this is something that you should be aware of, right? Because if you are a foreigner here, it's easy to be seduced by the sweet talk and the softness.
Yes. Because that's their. They will try to find your weakness. That's why they're using sweet talks.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. But it's, how can I put it? It is veiled behind the softness and the gentleness of the Philippines culture. Filipinos are known to be soft and gentle, if you know what I mean. I don't mean feminine. I don't mean in any way, passive. I just mean, there's a warmth and a hospitality. There's a warmth and a gentleness, right? That attracts so many people to come to the Philippines. You are a warm and a kind person. It's why we're friends. One of the reasons, right? But it doesn't make you any less of a man.
Yes.
Right? But then there are those, but now if we're talking about the women now, they're women, they're feminine to begin with, and then you get this extra layers of sweetness and softness, and it's just overflowing. Your cup my cup's been running over. Right? But then you gotta figure out which are the ones that's really who they are, or which of them are actresses.
Yes. So
There's
that's
a lot
why
of,
we always say that you have to be cautious when dating someone, especially women. There are women that they're good at it, like playing games.
Professional. They're
Yes.
professional. So yeah, it's just something I thought I should share because I think that maybe I've been naive. Maybe I'm the one that's been naive the whole time. Maybe I'm the one that is just not seeing the culture and the people, women, for what it really is. Maybe I've been fantasizing, or I have been, having this kind of mindset that it is not as rosy as I initially thought it would be. And so I'm sharing this message also for the Filipinos who might be listening, right? That for those of you who are the bad actresses, right? It's not that I expect this is going to sway their behavior because they're already self-centered, narcissistic, and selfish to begin with, right? So I don't expect anything I'm going to say that might sway their behavior, but I'm just saying to the others around them, there are other Filipino family members and friends who can influence them, right?
True.
This is a portrayal of your country now.
And this can apply to everyone.
Everywhere you go.
Yes.
Right, but I'm here, so I'm just talking about it because I'm here. People are flocking here to date and meet people, to get married. People don't flock to Canada to find wives.
What are stalkers scared of?
What are they afraid of?
Yeah.
Losing control of their prey. Right? It's like a cat playing with a mouse. Right?
Yeah.
The cat will play with it and smack it around, and it might take days before it'll just get tired and then finally it'll eat it. Right?
That's right.
Or they might kill it right away. Right? But what a cat doesn't want is for the mouse to get away.
Okay. That's a good answer. So how do you feel if someone stalked you? Like, how do you feel? What's your,
I feel annoyed. I feel I don't have patience for it. I feel like escaping. I'm like the mouse. I just want to get away.
Okay.
Right? I just want to get away. And first, anywhere I can get away, I just want to get away and stay away. A mouse is not running back to where the cat was.
Okay. So is there like a certain solution that how we can get rid of this?
Well, if we're talking about stalking, and we were talking earlier about Tampa, that's something else, right? But if we're talking about stalking now, just for what I did, I removed myself from the environment completely. So we were living together. We were sharing. She was staying in my apartment, so I, gave up my apartment. I moved to another island in the Philippines. Like I completely relocated myself far away as I could from this person, and then severed all ties to her and anyone that knew me through her. So anybody that of her family and friends, whatever, cut them all off. I went into all my social media platforms, make sure there was no connection, relocated somewhere else so that there was no way to be found, right? And why I did that was, you asked me how I felt. I also felt unsafe, right? Because as nice as these Filipinas are, or they may treat you as, they have brothers like you.
Yeah.
Big strong brothers like you, big strong dudes, right? But then if there's 10, I mean, hey, Roger, I'll give you an arm wrestling, you'll probably beat me. But if it's 10 of you, there's no way, man. I'm like, forget it. No.
That's
I might beat you once, but if there's 10 of you, like, forget it.
I think that's the best way to do, like
Get
to,
away.
to stay
Far away.
get away.
Because you never know, right? And when it comes to local authorities, if you're talking about local, there's one good friend of mine from the Caribbean that we grew up together who has experienced this sort of stalking, and in his story, the person made up a whole lie about him assaulting her. Oh, he assaulted me, he beat me, he did this, right? And then she put marks on herself. She inflicted bruising to herself, and then went to her family who was in the police, and it turned into this big drama. So when he told me this, I'm like, yeah, I remember. I'm like, I laughed, like, yeah, I remember that girl. He's like, bro, you're heading down the same path with this one. And I'm like, okay, you know what? None of that actually happened, but there were comments that she was making about her family members who were in the police, the barangay. I even met one of them. Met two of them. One of them worked in the barangay, and one of them was her high school friend, her childhood friend, who was a police officer. Right, just by chance one day we were somewhere, and it's like, oh hey, I bumped into a friend, meet so and so, and I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. And like, it turns out this person's a police officer. So I know when someone's trying to lean on me. I know when someone's trying to lean on me, and like I said, I'm not. This is not home. I don't have home court advantage here. If I was in the Caribbean, I would respond completely differently, right? But I'm not in the Caribbean, right? So I was like, man, I got to get away as far as possible. So this is what I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So have you ever tried to stalk to someone?
If I ever stalked someone?
Yeah.
No, I've never stalked someone. I have begged for second chance. And
Second chance.
I've begged, please come back. Oh, I'm sorry. I've done a lot of that. I've done a lot of begging, but never stalked someone. If someone is saying, hey, bro, you're out, you're done, I'm finished with you, just get lost. That's it. I get lost.
Right?
I move on. I just move on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do you think stalking someone is a bad thing?
Yeah, of course it's a bad thing. It's bad for you if you're the stalker or you're the stalkee, right? If you're the stalker, right? I mean, it's there's better things to do with your time, right? And there's just so many things that you should, be getting treatment for from a professional. If it's so out of control, that if you cannot control your own emotions to a point where you are, hacking into someone's social media, hacking into their computers, screenshotting their conversations, making false accusations, spreading lies and rumors unfounded. If you are engaging in this sort of behavior, now to the stalkee, the person who's being stalked, they may or may not care, or they may or may not be affected so much by the consequences, but some people they might be, and maybe that's why the stalker is doing those things, right? But if getting back to the stalker now, it's like, really, you need help. And I say that with empathy. I say that, wow, you really need help. You really need help to get yourself together, right? So if you're going to find that forever person that you said that you were looking for, you're not going to find have a person with this kind of behavior and attitude. Eventually, it's like the functioning alcoholic. Eventually, the people around you are going to realize you're drunk,
Right.
mad, drunk and mad.
So this is another question, which is being asked by a Filipina in the comment section in one of our videos. So is that a red flag to a foreigner who keeps his pictures with his past or ex?
It's a red flag. Yeah, it's a red flag.
Okay.
And going back to my previous disclosure that I have 3 daughters, right? If my daughter came to me and if one of my daughters asked me that, hey Dad, I'm dating this guy, I really like him, things are going well, but I found a library of photos of his ex-wife and him together and his girlfriends and whatever, I'd be like, well, is he still emotionally attached to them? Why does he still have the photos? That to me is an indicator that there's still an emotional attachment. There's just some sentimental feelings left behind. So flush the photos, bro. Right? Flush them. And yeah, that is a red flag, a valid one. If I'm the Filipino, yeah, heck yeah. She has a right to say, hey, what's this, bro?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. Even Filipinos or us, you know, if I get and then Ismi will figure that I have one, for sure, it's gonna be a war.
Right. So and then you got to have an answer. Why do you? Now this has happened to me. It has happened to me in my dating since I've been here, that I have had photos in my Google. My Google backs up your photos. I didn't even know this, how when you have a Gmail and it's synced with your phone and whatever, somehow it saves photos in your Google library, right? So I had photos with me with other girls that I've dated in the past in my Google library. So now I'm dating the girl of today. I'm dating the current girl, and I'm just like, you know, looking through my photos, and we're just like looking at photos together. Then, bing! It pops up. Me and some other girls like, what the hell is that? I'm like, oh my god! Right?
I didn't know that.
Well, then I explain. I say, you know, I explain, and I delete it. Right now, if a girl is reasonable, and I'm giving an answer, and I'm not lying, it goes away. And that's what happened. It would be no different if I saw her with some picture with some dude hugging and kissing and at the club or whatever, and it's like, what's that? Right? And then she's like, makes an excuse, and then she doesn't delete it. It goes both ways. So there you go.
All right. So, what can you say to our viewers about Filipina stalkers? Like any advice or a piece of advice? Or is there any cure?
Well, for the stalkers. The stalkers is not the same as Tampo, because we talked about Tampo. So that's something else. If we're talking about when you're in the relationship and you're having your everyday disagreements, say, and then there's some kind of, you know, behavior that that you're not comfortable with, and they're offending you, and they're not stopping. It's like, really? Really? Right? I have ways that I have uncovered works as far as, what's the right word? Okay, I'm going to say it. It corrects. I'm correcting that behavior, right? And when I say correct it, what I'm trying to say is, if I'm in a relationship with someone and they are behaving in a way that is toxic to the relationship, and words aren't always working, then sometimes you have to use other techniques other than words to get the desired effect, right? But when it gets to stalking now, stalking, you know, to me, that's next level crazy. If you're engaging in behavior that I would characterize as stalking, that's game over for me. If I see this symptoms with someone, that's it. I'm looking for a wife. I'm not marrying someone that has these kind of psychotic tendencies. Okay. Right? But if it is not so psychotic, and then they're, you know, willing to at least hear and have a reasonably sane conversation where I feel that, okay, you know what, I think we can work through this, then fine. I can resort to other means to inoculate the virus, right, and kill the virus.
Wow.
Right, so I have some techniques that I have uncovered that work very well with that, but I only use those remedies.
Yeah.
Right? For situations that I'm interested in curing. But if I see someone is you know, if I see someone is beyond, they're mentally beyond. I don't want this to come across. I'm not trying to be arrogant with my answer. I'm not trying to come across like I'm some God's gift to women, and I'm just this guy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you know, it goes both ways too,
Sure.
right? If I'm engaging in a behavior that the woman doesn't like, she gets to, you know, call me out on it too, right? But we're talking about what I'm experiencing with Tampo and with this jealousy and this kind of behaviors, right? If you know, I think that, hey, maybe there's a way we can work through this, but you have got to be, you as the woman, you've got to be willing to accept from me that you're pissing me off, you're out of bounds, you crossed the line, right? And saying sorry over and over and over, and you're still behaving the same way, right?
True,
okay,
true.
eventually, you're gonna get the treatment. You're gonna get the treatment.
All right. So, is there anything you might want to add
To the treatment?
Yeah. Before we end the video.
Well, let me put it to you this way. You know, growing up in the Caribbean, okay, what would happen in the Caribbean, in the islands in the Caribbean, Jamaica, Antigua, Trinidad, these are Caribbean islands. It's very similar. The culture is very similar here in the Philippines, okay? When you are a child, Roger, and you're acting like shitty, and your parents are just yelling at you over and over and over again. In the island, in the Caribbean, what they'll tell you to do, they'll send you to the corner to get a shoe, or they'll send you outside to the yard to pick a twig from the tree. Then you got to bring that to your mother or your father.
Wow.
And then you turn around and you drop your pants, and you get a whooping out of ass.
Wow.
Right? Now this is what happens in the Caribbean, right? Where they will, you know, you get an ass whooping, right? Now I have done some independent research on this topic since I've come to the Philippines, and I've learned that there's spanking that happens with parents and their kids here. Parents will spank their kids here.
Yeah, true.
It's not like in Canada and the US and these like Western countries where now spanking has become this like, you can go to jail for spanking your kid. But if you go to the Caribbean and you get a spanking, if you go and complain to anyone, you're going to get another spanking. Right? So I'm just saying, you know, I've adopted some Caribbean remedies for
okay.
these situations, and they've been proven to be effective because no more Tampo.
All right. So, I guess that would be all for this specific video, and we hope this is really informative to you guys. And again, this can happen both ways, and all of us watching this video. So, for sure, you'll be aware now that it's a norm in the Philippines. So, thank you so much for watching till the end, and we hope to see you in our next video. No hate, just love.
Only love.